Hi, my name is Jerome Grant, and I represent the action area of transportation, namely Antigonish Community Transit. I thought there'd be more signs of emotion after I announced that name, but it hasn't got on yet, I guess, so we have to get in the act. We've identified a growing need of public transit in the town of Antigonish and the county of Antigonish. This growing need is due primarily to the increase in our senior population, the number of low-income families, disabled persons, and the number of students. Our question is, what form of ongoing assistance will your government provide to enable us to address this basic need that now exists in a very large portion of our population?
Well, I guess first and foremost, I think two of the regions that, or demographic groups that really rely on this notion of public transportation have been identified as senior population and the rural population. I come from Heatherton, which would fall into the rural population side of things. We're outside of town. And even in my lifetime, I've seen how Heatherton, the village of Heatherton, has lost a lot of services. We used to have a corner store. We used to have a credit union. We used to have a gas station. We used to have lots of services that could sustain our community and our senior population within that community. And we don't have that anymore. And we've recently lost our community school as well. So how is it then that our people are supposed to travel and make it into town, which is what we are expected to do? So we do understand and appreciate the need for public transit. What the Liberal government is committed to is working with municipal government and industry in developing the appropriate public transit decision-making policy. We are committed to investing $3 million in public transit systems, and we are committed in running programs and public transit and community-based transit outside of Metro. So the $3 million is not a $3 million Metro transit, it is a $3 million community transit investment. So it is not just a Metro. This is recognizing the need outside of Metro in our rural communities, which are so important to the vitality and the future of Nova Scotia.
On this issue, Nova Scotia has established the first sustainable transportation strategy in the province. And the aim for that is to provide Nova Scotians with accessible, affordable, safe, and convenient choices for transportation. We've introduced the Nova Scotia Moves program, which provides grant money to encourage communities like Antigonish to come up with their own sustainable transportation program. And just recently, we have given an amount of money to the local initiative to come up with a plan, and from that plan, a pilot project will be developed. The amount of funding for that we've, over for 2 years, is $74,000, which was granted through the Antigonish Women's Resource Centre, was a partner of the Community Transit Program. In addition to that, the town of Antigonish was awarded $15,000 through the MOVES program, the grant program, to develop an active transportation plan. We've supported the Strait Regional, the Strait Area Transport Corporation with $50,000 in 2012, and we also gave a grant of $130,000 in 2010 to buy an accessible bus here in Antigonish. We are active in terms of transportation issues at the community level. This project that's going forward in Antigonish will be a pilot project that perhaps will be able to be an example that can be used across the province. But this is an important issue for us, and we have already been active to the tune that I just suggested. Transportation is vital to rural communities.
I would say that the recent funding announcement for the Antigonish Community Transit Group is a welcome news. Everybody knows who's facing these problems over the past number of years. It's probably been too long in the making. I think the first step and the best step is to get a program and funding like that to provide that feasibility study to figure out what exactly is the best route to go with rural transportation. We all know it's a problem in rural Nova Scotia. Metro has their own issues with busing and things like that, but rural Nova Scotia problems with transportation are totally different. I think by a consultation process with the stakeholders themselves, there's a good chance to come up with really good solutions. The active transportation within the community of Antigonish, however, is even more sustainable because there's not a lot of cost involved with the kind of bike and walking culture, And that's one of the things that can be really implemented rather quickly. For those with vehicles, removing the tax on gasoline is one small step towards that, but not a lot of people that we're talking about with extreme poverty have vehicles to worry about. The problem where transportation comes into play more so is because of affordable housing. If you don't have affordable housing within the community of Antigonish where you can walk and bike, then you have to move outside the community, and that's where the transportation becomes a major issue. So you fix one problem, another one's created. And that's why with a lot of these issues, there is an intertwining of the issues themselves. So we got to look at an overall approach, and I think that the path that we're on right now with the feasibility study towards these issues is the right way to go.